Welcome to HortTube. My name is Jim Putnam. This is the Sunday garden question and answer video that I do most Sundays of the month. The first Sunday of the month is a subscriber Sunday video where subscribers send in photos of things in their yard that they're proud of. You can send in photos to this email address right here. Make sure the email is titled subscriber photos. And if you're taking photos with your phone, turn your phone sideways because YouTube is wide angle. It's not up and down like Instagram likes photos. I wish they were, there was a universal thing, but wide angle for sure if you can. Before I get to some questions, a couple things. Well, number one, happy Father's Day to any father who is watching this. My son is coming for a cookout today. We're riding down to my father's house, I think, and Chelsea's playing football today or soccer today, and I'm looking forward to that. One of those things I've really missed during all of this is I watch Premier soccer on Saturdays and Sunday mornings, typically while I'm doing other work. So I've really missed that, even though they have fake crowd noises in the matches. It's kind of weird. Looking forward to other sports coming back as well, but definitely looking forward to seeing Chelsea play later this morning. Okay, what else? I've got a lot of video content coming up this week. I talked about it in the Wednesday video I did, maybe Tuesday. I don't remember when it was. It was when I announced the giveaway for the Corona tools. I've got the winners for the folding saw, the 10-inch folding saw from Corona, and the 1-inch classic pruners, and the kneeling pad. I'll do the drawing at the end of the video for the YouTube winner, so I'll show you how I do these drawings. But the winner for the on Instagram is Nedley Tamara. I'll put that down here at the bottom of the screen. And the Facebook winner is Michael Martin. That's the for the 3 tools. So it's the, like I say, it's the 10-inch folding saw, the 1-inch classic pruners, and then the kneeling pad as well. So thank you very much to Corona for participating in these giveaways. They've been doing this on my channel for, I don't know, 2.5 years or something like that. And this was a good giveaway with 3 pieces to 3 different people. Again, I will pull the YouTube winner at the end of the video so you can just see how a random comment picker works, and you know that I'm just picking them randomly. Okay. All right. I think that's it. And like I said, this week I think I'll have a video pretty much every day this week. It's tomorrow I've got the another tour. You've seen 2 tour videos since I got back from the golf. I'm going to do a container update on Tuesday. All the containers out here look fantastic that I planted in a couple videos earlier in the season. Some points I want to make on that about fertilizing. I see fertilizing videos where people telling you to fertilize with liquids constantly. And I've fertilized one time on these containers. They look just as good as anybody else's containers. I think you'll agree. Just less inputs is my thinking. The update video on Wednesday, definitely that red bud will be in the ground. There should be some new pieces going on this building back here. I'm putting some planter boxes under the windows, and I've got some old tools that I'm mounting to the side of it, and several other things I'm doing to this building, including putting a grapevine that's Holly's examining here on it as well. And so should be lots of progress for the Wednesday update video. And then I've got a tree tour video on Thursday where I'm talking through lots of different tree options, mostly shade trees, a few, and some flowering trees as well. And then I've got a yew video on Friday, not a video about you, but a video, Y-E-W. And then I think by next weekend I'll have the July to-do video done, I hope. And I'm going to put it up like Saturday, which is like 3 days before July starts. But anyway, so busy week on the channel. So let's get started on some questions. Again, thanks to Corona for participating again in the channel and the 3 pieces that they're giving away to 3 different winners. Okay, so somebody asked me, a lot of people found my channel because I do propagation videos, and I'm going to get back to that very soon. This greenhouse, I want to assemble the irrigation in there this week and get moving forward. There's some cuttings I'd like to stick this early summer. This person had stuck some cuttings in mid-spring, and a lot of them have rotted, and you can definitely start too early. I will say, and this year would have been super easy to do that. It's possible that the cuttings weren't hardened off enough. I usually, at the nursery, we would always wait until about June 1st to start sticking a lot of the deciduous plants, plants that lose their leaves in the winter, they harden off a little quicker and are just generally easier to root. And I would start with those. So things like lilacs and spireas and forsythias, whatever we were rooting that was deciduous. And then from there, we would do the leafy evergreen things by the 1st of July or so. Camellias were always the last thing we did. So although I feel like I'm a little bit late right now, it being the 3rd week of June, I'm not really. I think that this is about the right timing. So I think you probably just started a little too early, and then the weather did us no favors by staying so cool for so long. But I think that's probably more than anything. Obviously, they were too wet. That's why they rotted. But the reason they were too wet is probably related to cooler temperatures and cooler night temperatures, keeping too much moisture in place. But for me, I don't start, just put June 1st on your calendar for sticking cuttings. And from June 1st until about July 31st, I find that things just root easily. And then other times of the year, they just are more difficult. Not impossible by any, I rooted cuttings in the winter as well, but easier in that period of time in the late spring, early summer when things have just hardened off. There's a long answer from Jim. Okay, somebody asked me if they've got full sun between 12:30 and 2:30 every day. Wanted to know if that's enough for an oak leaf hydrangea. It probably is, as long as you're getting bright light the rest of the day. That's a tough call. I mean, I've got them in this neighborhood where they're in pretty shady spaces and are doing pretty well. It may be that you have to prune them a little bit more if they start stretching on you after they flower every year to control that stretching a little bit. But 2 hours of direct sun in the middle of the day probably is enough. Okay, somebody says their hollies seem stunted years after they transplanted them. So they dug them up from somewhere, moved them to somewhere else, and now they just haven't grown. Usually, those things were planted too deep when they were transplanted, and that's generally what I'll find for plants that just stay in this weird stasis where they don't grow, they don't die, they don't anything for years. I find that if plants are struggling that way, if I put a shovel under them and just raise them up a couple inches, maybe mix in some additional compost into this, because you're gonna have space to fill under the plant. But I would go and raise them up, and I would assume that they just never really rooted in. They've never been happy, likely because they're too deep. Okay. Somebody asked me about growing azaleas in zone 4 and wanted to bring them in the house in the wintertime. Inside the house is probably not a good idea. The air is so dry when you're running your heat, especially in zone 4. Your heat's going to run just constantly in order to keep the house warm, and that's extremely dry air. The dove just flew. I don't know if you could actually went between the camera and me. I have no idea. So a garage is going to be a better idea. Someplace where you can bring it in. You can have it as a container plant and then bring it into a garage on the if you have warmer periods, you could leave them outside. You just don't want that pot to stay frozen. But the inside of the house, probably not a good idea on leafy evergreen shrubs like that. Garage is a better idea where there can be some humidity and then not frozen solid. Okay, somebody asked me if they should go ahead and prepare beds for fall. They're not going to do any planting, but they wanted to wondered if I would go ahead and prepare the beds, and I absolutely would. I think that 90% of what's going on back here with the growth I have on things is just bed prep. I put down an inch of compost or more and then covered it in these wood chips, and the soils come back to life. So the sooner you can get the soil back to life and get the engine that actually, the engines that are necessary to grow plants, get them started, I would. So yeah, I would absolutely go and do your bed prep and get everything ready, and then do your planting in the fall. The earlier you do that, the better. There's so many earthworms back here, you wouldn't believe it. I've got birds. I mean, there's literally just birds out here all day pulling worms out of the ground. There's just so many of them, and I just brought the soil back to life. That was it. Okay, they also asked me about Roman candle podocarpus being a good corner foundation plant. That's an upright podocarpus, has gold tips or white tips on it. It's in a video. I have a video coming, and I don't think I put it on the list for this week, of foundation plants, and I did. The first 2 videos are low growing, mounding plants, and I think there's like 36 plants in those 2 videos. And then the third part of the video is plants for corners, for upright, narrow things that you can use up against the house to give you some height. And that Roman candles podocarpus is part of that video. So The long answer is yeah. So the short answer is yes. The long answer is you're going to see it in the video soon. Okay. So somebody said their crepe myrtles didn't leaf out all the way to the top, and should they cut them? Yeah, absolutely. You'll see that sometimes. The tops of crepe myrtles from the previous season will die back for whatever reason. It may not have happened on the one next to it, but it did on that one. And I wouldn't know why without knowing what the space looks like or anything like that. But with a crepe myrtle, you can absolutely, I say wait for them to wake up every year and then cut the dead branches back to the point where they did wake up. Okay, let's see. Somebody bought a crepe myrtle somebody bought a red bud. This is a Golden Falls red bud here, and wanted to know if they should cut the inward growing branches. Yeah, absolutely. Red buds are notorious for taking branches and running them inside and rubbing on one another and causing itself issues. So yeah, any of those thin branches that turn and go in toward the middle of the tree, I definitely want to get them out. It also helps with air movement through the tree as well. Okay, somebody asked me about they want to transplant some hollies that have been in the ground for a long time. The previous owner of the house had kept them super small, so they appear to be small hollies, but when you look down in them, they're like 10-inch diameter trunks. You'll see this a lot where plants are just held back and held back and held back, and eventually they just kind of look awkward because the trunks continue to grow on them. I will tell you that you could probably transplant those hollies successfully, but it will be some of the hardest work you've ever done. Hollies do not like to come out of the ground. Holly's over here, and I'm wondering when she's going to try to come over here. I keep saying Holly. They're very difficult to get out of the ground, and I think once one is like 10 inches diameter like that at the base, it's going to be super, super hard to get it out of the ground. So your challenge would be to get it out of the ground in a way that's transplantable and not destroy it in the process of getting it out of the ground. So I think ultimately you're going to destroy them trying to transplant them. But if you had some machinery or if it happened to dig out easily, they'd transplant, no doubt. They may lose every leaf. I've transplanted hollies like that, and they lose every leaf, and then 6 months later, they're flushing back out. So I don't think you could kill it, except for the fact that it's going to be nearly impossible to get it out of the ground well without equipment. Okay. Somebody said their Variegated Abilio was reverting with some green foliage, meaning that that I've got a Variegated Abilio back here, and it's got green foliage coming out. You're going to get that occasionally on Variegated Abilio. They're more stable than they used to be. The original Variegated Abilio always reverted. The newer ones, I see just a branch here or there sometimes. Just go down in the bottom as low as you can go in the plant and pardon me, and cut that down to the base. And do that when it comes back up. It'll do that. It's a twice a year task. It's not really that big of a deal, but do get that green foliage out. It will outgrow the variegated plant, so keep that in mind. Make sure you get rid of that green as soon as possible. Okay, let's see. Somebody asked me about doing sunflowers from seed, but something keeps eating them, and I had the same problem over here. There's one sunflower right here that I think is probably in the frame, and I got a couple more over there. This one's about to flower actually, and I have chipmunks out here, and chipmunks are bad about it. Of course, the squirrels will eat them too. They love them, but the chipmunks just go around and find every seed that's in the ground, and probably birds as well will take care of sunflowers. What I would do is if you do sunflowers in the ground, they're actually super easy to do in the ground, but you can put some sort of netting over them and a bird netting or something like that and allow them to get germinated. Once they get up a few inches, other than rabbits, nothing's going to be a problem for them at that point. They do germinate easy. They're easy to grow. I've done nothing to this one. It was just a seed that was in another plant. But getting them started can be a challenge in the ground because of vermin. Okay, somebody asked me if Holly is always this calm. Holly, come. Holly, come. Holly, come. Holly, come. Come on, girl. Yeah, somebody asked me if Holly, come here, girl. Come here, come on. You're always on the camera. Why wouldn't you want to be, come here. You're always on the camera. Yes, Holly is 11 years old, and she is a husky mix of some kind, and she has these beautiful blue eyes, and everybody loves Holly. but she is 11 now, and she's always been this calm. She corrects other dogs that aren't calm, but she's always on patrol out here for those chipmunks eating the sunflower seeds. But yes, I've been lucky with this dog. I've had dogs my entire life. This dog is the top of the list. You know, I hate to compare and rank them and that kind of thing, but she is definitely, never had a dog like her. She's always like that. She's like that on walks. She's like that. You see her out here. She was like that when I had my nursery. She's been in 300 videos probably. Best dog ever. Okay, let's see. Somebody asked me, last one here for this week. The tree in the pot behind me, I don't know if you were asking about the Golden Falls redbud, which is going in the ground. It's finally rooted into that pot. Or the Japanese maple that I have back here. I have this contorted Japanese maple that I've had for a long, long time, that I actually bent the trunk like this. It's got a curved trunk. I need to take the top right now and start to bend it back this way. I haven't done it in a couple years, but it's time to do that. But that's a cut leaf Japanese maple, and then that's that Golden Falls redbud. So here's the first of all, thanks for everybody for participating in the question and answer videos. You can ask questions down below this video if you want to participate. I'll have a question and answer video next week, and then I think the week after that is the Subscriber Sunday video. So again, thanks to Corona for participating in the channel. I use their tools constantly in the videos. 10-inch folding saw, and the 1-inch classic pruners, and the kneeling pad. The third winner, YouTube winner, is, all right, so here's the random comment picker. If I enter the video here, and I always filter duplicate users so we get one, everybody's entered just once. And then I get the YouTube comments, 400, 500, 600, 685 comments. And then we hit start over here, and it randomly picks a winner. And the winner is Cici Bracho. I guess that's how you pronounce that. Sorry if I'm butchering that. Thanks everybody for watching and participating in the Corona Tools giveaway.